Yo, what is going on, everybody? Shri Kanase here. So validating products in 2021 for Shopify dropshipping or just general brands as well. Now, this is one of the most commonly asked questions simply because there's a lot of resources out there as to how to choose winning products for Facebook, how to choose winning products for Google, and so forth. But in my opinion, there's no real guideline or step-by-step process as to which product can actually work for these platforms and how to even validate these products. Because if you taking what you learned from other YouTube videos, go out into the market and try to find products which match those criteria, you're going to be bombarded with a big list of potential products, and at the very end, all you're going to be left with is confusion and maybe lost money. So by the end of this video, not only are you going to know how to figure out whether a product has any kind of potential or not, meaning validating the product, but also what to look out for with the product themselves and how to go about everything. And we're going to be covering both Facebook ads as well as a lot of other major advertising platforms and of course Google ads. So make sure to watch this video until the end. But let's just get right into it. The first thing you'll have to do in order to find any type of success with product validation is to destroy that like button until it turns blue. I promise it's going to take just 2 quick seconds. You're not going to lose your spot in this video. Okay, hopefully you have smashed that like button down below. But let's start off with talking about exactly what validation is and how it works. In my opinion and also in my experience now that I've been doing Shopify for several years, validation is based on the advertising platform in question. Now, what does this mean exactly? What that means is every single different advertising platform has different ways of validation. So if you use what I'm about to teach you for Google ads and use those validation techniques for Facebook, it's simply not going to work, period. And that's simply because every different advertising platform has different ways of validation and different ways that they work. So you cannot really use one strategy and one technique and then go onto another platform and try to implement that there, because at the very end, it's simply going to lead you to a total loss. So because of that, you need to be aware of different advertising platforms and how validation works for each of them. Luckily for you, we're going to be covering a lot of them here in this video. But what you want to understand regarding validation, why this video is even important for you to watch until the end, is because validation is literally the key to lower ad spend and greater profits. If you cannot validate your product properly in the beginning, you're not only wasting your money, but you're also wasting your time and energy. And we all know that with business, time is basically key to success. The more time you have to put into stuff that actually matters and stuff that actually gets you positive results, the better it will be for you in the long run. So you really want to cut the time you're spending on the bad things and spend that time on the good. In this case, we really want to validate the product before we think about even adding the product to our store, or let alone running ads for it. Because in this case, as I already mentioned, time, money, and energy, all three of them are on the line. So you want to make the best use of these things, and validation is the way to go when it comes to making the use of these things. But let's start off by talking about validation for Facebook and majority of the other advertising platforms which are somewhat similar to Facebook. How does validation work in this case? So let's start off by talking about the product itself, because that is exactly what we're trying to validate here. In my opinion and my experience, what I've noticed is that the following questions really help me understand whether this product is even worthy of getting added or advertised for Facebook and majority of the other advertising platforms. And this is the first step of validation, and that is asking yourself, what is the product exactly? What kind of functions does it have? What kind of uses does it have? Is it really available basically anywhere, meaning you can go walk down to your local department store and get it there? Or is it not really that available? What is the size? Is it a big, humongous refrigerator, or is it a small little pen? And of course, the dimensions and the weight. If it's a refrigerator, it's going to be thousands of pounds. It's going to cost a lot more to ship. There's a lot of different restrictions, all of those other things, which go into selling that. If it's a smaller product, if it has lower dimensions, it's much easier to sell those kinds of things. But the reason why we're asking all of these questions to ourselves is because we want to figure out whether this product is, number one, useful, or number two, interesting, or number three, has any kind of wow factor. Because with Facebook and majority of the other platforms, what I've noticed is that if the product is useful, it will sell. If it is interesting, meaning it stops somebody scrolling down in their tracks, it will also sell. And if it has a wow factor, meaning they stop in their tracks and they're looking at the video and it makes them go wow, that is another selling point. Because what you want to understand with Facebook and majority of the other similar platforms is these people are not on their Facebook feeds or wherever else they are to shop. They're simply there browsing through their Facebook feed, just going about their day. It is your job as a dropshipper, as a Facebook ads marketer, to come in and stop them in their tracks and make them want to buy this product, because that is the only way you're going to make any kind of money when it comes to selling products on Facebook or any other platform which is similar to Facebook. So you really want to make sure that the product has one of these things. If it has all three, that is absolutely amazing, but it should have some kind of function and should not be too readily available, because if you're trying to sell, for example, a 3D printer and it's the same design you can literally get at Home Depot or Target, then that's going to be a problem for you. You might not sell as much because, number one, if you're trying to drop ship it, you're going to have to charge a bit more, and in a lot of these cases you might end up charging more than what these retail stores do. But number two, it's already pretty available, so why would someone trust a random website online and wait for the delivery when they can go down to the local store, which is 2 minutes away, and get it on that same day? So all of these things really make a big difference. And in addition, what are the uses of this product? Is it useful or is it not really that useful? And of course, sizing and dimensions, and of course weight and all of that stuff. So you want to look at the specifications, make sure it's nothing too big, nothing too crazy. But that brings me to the next point on the list, which is product images. Of course, along with usability of the product, the convenience, you want to make sure that you have some kind of decent product images available for that product. If you just have plain white background images, that's also fine in this case, but you want to make sure they're not blurry, they don't have any logos, watermark text on them, because that, once a potential customer goes onto your website and they see that, they're not going to be really that inclined to continue shopping with you. So you want to get this out of the picture, make sure none of this is visible within the product images, and all of your product images are very high quality. In my experience, what I found is that if you have real lifestyle images, meaning where the product is showcased in a real live background with people using it on all sorts of stuff like that, that has much better chances of selling compared to just something on a white background. And as you guys know, if you have been following me for a while, I mainly like to use image ads with Facebook. So these lifestyle images definitely help me get more sales compared to a white background image when it comes to Facebook. However, that is not always the case. I've also found winning products where a white background image actually did the trick and actually was the winning ad for me. So it's always worth a try. Something that works for me may not always work for you, but definitely make sure there are enough product images for the product, and these are decent product images. But that brings me to the product description on the website itself that you're sourcing from. So if the product is available on AliExpress and the description, there's nothing much written on it, you're going to have a hard time describing the product in detail, talking about the specifications, dimensions, weight, etc. So you want to make sure all of this information is readily available, because without this, you're not going to have a proper description, and without a proper description, sure, people will come on your page through the ad, but they will not convert, and you'll have lower chances of having them go from the product page to the cart page, which is in the end exactly what we want. So make sure product description is on point and ideal, and in this case it means just having enough info for that. But this brings me to the actual ad, and the number one question you want to ask, which a lot of people actually fail to ask themselves, is can this product even be advertised? A very simple question, but 99% of the people don't even ask themselves this question, and they get ready with all of the ads, all of the text and all sorts of stuff, but in the end they find out that it's not even allowed to be sold on Facebook, or there's not enough interest, barely even one or two, or the available videos or images, they're copyrighted, or there's not even enough videos and images to be used as ads. So all these things are extremely important that you look into right after you come across a product, because if it does not match any of these, then you're going to have a very difficult time trying to sell that product on Facebook or any of these other advertising platforms. So make sure to check the policies, make sure there's enough interest, make sure there's enough available videos and high quality images for you to use as ads, because again, that plays a huge role in getting your product to sell. But this brings me to the final point, which is profits. You want to have a minimum of $25 to $30 profits. The more the better. Recently, if you have watched one of my case study videos, I went over how I was able to sell a $200 to $300 product on Facebook with $50 to $100 profit margins. And that is the ideal situation you want to be in. This number right here, this is just the baseline. The more you have, the better it will be for you in the long run. So always make sure there's a minimum of $25 to $30 profit. The more there is, the better it's going to be for you. But that does it for Facebook and a majority of the other advertising platforms. This is exactly how you want to be validating a product. Basically, go through this step-by-step process in order to find out whether at the end that product is worthy of a test or not. But this brings me to my favorite advertising platform, which is of course Google Ads. So we start off with a similar layout. We start off with Facebook, but we're going to be asking ourselves different questions here. The first question I like to ask myself is, what is the monthly keyword search volume for this product? Is it above a certain range? And we're going to be going over the range very shortly. But in addition, once I start searching up those keywords which pop up on the keyword planner tool, I'm asking myself, how much competition is there? Is there more than a certain amount which I don't want it to cross? And is this product, again, readily available? Going back to our 3D printer example, if that's already readily available, of course, there's going to be a lot of competitors for that on Google Ads as well. So you want to find a product which is really not that readily available. In addition, is it too big of a product? What is the size? What are the dimensions, weights, etc.? This is where we ask similar questions to what we would with Facebook, but here is the real difference, and you want to really make sure that you're answering these questions up to par and following the set metrics which I'm about to mention. The first metric for monthly keyword searches is, are there more than 25,000 monthly searches with an upward trend right now? And by right now, I mean within the past 2 to 3 months. If there's no upward trend, if the trend is somewhat stagnant or even going down, that may be a sign that that product is really not good to be sold right now. Because a portable air conditioner, it's going to be a winning product in summertime, but it's going to be a bad losing product in winter. So you want to kind of look at the trend, make sure it's either going upwards or kind of steady, not dipping down or anything, especially in the past 2 to 3 months, as well as within the past year during this time period. If it matches this criteria, then we can move on to the next step, which is again competition. In this case, we want to have less than 5 to 7 drop shippers selling that product or selling something similar. If you Google blackhead remover, you're going to see that is one of the most competitive products on the market out there when it comes to Google Ads. And it doesn't matter whether it's a similar product or something that has a different design. If there's more than 5 to 7 dropshippers, generally I won't even look into selling that product. I'll move on to something else that can get me more sales. But this also brings me to the next point, which is product images. The reason why I made product images in bold is because with Google Ads, that is one of the most important things you can look after. If you don't have the monthly search volume right, if you don't have the competition right, make sure you get the image right, because that does 99% of the talking, and that is going to determine whether you can sell for a higher price or not. So in my experience, I've noticed product images for the same exact product as your competitor can get you more sales and even get you to be the winner in the listings, even if you're charging more for the same exact product. So make sure product images are on point. And in addition, when it comes to the actual keywords, make sure you're finding search engine optimized keywords. I have tutorials on this and a bunch of other videos that you can watch on my channel regarding Google Ads. So make sure to do that, but you want to have minimum of 4 to 5 or more. And this brings me to the final point, which is ads. Nothing too crazy here, just follow what I have laid out in my other videos, meaning general testing campaigns, and you want to have profits of $25 or more. The higher it is, the better, but generally $25 is the minimum range that I like to start off with for Google. But that's generally what I do for Google when it comes to validating the product. If you're looking to get more help with Google Ads specifically and want to receive one-on-one mentoring and get a chance to work with me directly, be sure to send me a message on Instagram at DedicatedYoung. I do offer one-on-one mentoring to a select few students every single month where we go heads deep into Google Ads together. But if you found any type of value in this video, smash that like button and smash that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next time.